There's something about that silhouette that a perfectly cut suit gives people that really helps to elevate your style and makes you look incredible. With this being said though, many people don't really know what makes a suit, and this is one of those instances where a little bit of knowledge can really go a long way. My name is Alexander, and on this episode of Suitably, I'm going to break down a few of the things that make a suit and how you can use this to your advantage to elevate your style and make you look appropriate regardless of the occasion. So this is not an advanced discussion. So for those suit connoisseurs out there, consider this nothing more than revision. What we want to do today is to give you some of the more basic, practical fundamentals so you can make confident decisions as you deck out your wardrobe. There's a lot of finer details to a suit that most people don't really think about in a world where fast fashion labels and runway trends tend to make decisions about what we wear. For this video, we're going to focus on 3 defining jacket features and what to look out for. Let's start off with a definition. Just what exactly is a suit? Well, if we're getting technical, a suit is simply a set of clothing that is made of the same fabric. In the Western world, that's typically seen as a jacket and pants, and in some instances, you'll add a vest to the ensemble. What you'll note in this definition is that it doesn't include separate fabrics. So in the instance that you're wearing jeans or chinos with a suit jacket, it's not a suit in the technical sense. That's not to say that you can't make some really nice outfits from your separates, and I often mix and match my suits or throw in a pair of jeans into the mix, but when you do so, you tend to take away from the formality of your dress. When you wear a suit, you typically do so with intent. Having that clean, uniform look that you get from a modern 2 or 3-piece suit really helps to emphasize the fact that you're dressing and acting with purpose. Now that's out of the way, let's talk about 3 defining features of a suit jacket. These are lapels, buttons, and pockets. How these are configured will have a big impact on how your end outfit will look and how you're perceived. So let's get stuck in, starting with lapels. When we talk about lapels, we're referring to the folded flaps of cloth that are on the front of your jacket. The way that these are cut and configured can entirely change the purpose of your suit. For instance, a tuxedo suit will typically have a lapel that's done in satin with a shawl or peak lapel, whereas modern business suits generally have a notched lapel. We can talk until the cows come home about stancing, gorge, belly roll, all sorts of things that impact how your lapel looks, but let's keep it basic for the moment. There are 3 major types of lapel in the modern suiting world. These are the notch lapel, the peak lapel, and the shawl lapel. If you've already got a suit in your wardrobe, there's every chance that it has a notched lapel on it. Notched lapels are the most common in modern suiting and are easily made out by the notch that can be seen where the lapel connects to the collar. A notched lapel in today's world is the most versatile and a great choice if you want something that's not going to stand out too much. Anywhere that you wear a suit, a notched lapel will serve you well. If you have a limited amount of space in your wardrobe, then notched lapels will absolutely be the safest bet. Following on from this is what I think is the most underrated of lapels, and that's the peak lapel. A peak lapel is a lapel that basically comes up to a peak before coming down and connecting with a collar. In the past, peak lapels were seen as the most formal, and historically, they were the only choice for black tie events. Nowadays, that isn't the case, and the peak lapel is acceptable pretty much anywhere that a notched lapel is. The difference is that the extra formality and sharper lines in a peak lapel typically makes for a jacket that is a little bit more aggressive in nature. This is great if you're in a position of power or if you want something that will help to build a little bit more assertiveness in your dress. Another added benefit of this style of lapel, particularly if it's matched with a pinstripe or a herringbone suit, is that it gives the illusion of height. Because peak lapels will typically point up and out towards the shoulders. It helps shorter and wider guys by changing the point of focus upwards, lengthening the torso and helping to lose a couple of illusionary kilos. Finally, we have the shore lapel. A shore lapel is defined by the continuous curve that generally meets quite low and often overlaps itself. On our example custom quilted Suitably tuxedo jacket, you'll see that the lapel is actually made of satin and is complemented by satin covered buttons. This is pretty common and is a pretty popular configuration for the modern tuxedo as popularized by James Bond. The shore lapel is intrinsically the least common of lapels, mainly because it's something that is a little bit more formal in nature. It's mostly reserved for tuxedos and is sometimes used on a vest to give you something that stands out a little more. That's not to say that you can't wear it if you want to, and at the end of the day, you should wear whatever it is that makes you feel comfortable. Just remember, however, if you rock a tuxedo to a job interview, you're probably not going to be looked on as favorably as you might have if you were dressed correct for the situation. Much like lapels, there's a lot of different button configurations out there, but to keep things simple, we're going to stick with the three most common. Starting with the least amount of buttons, a single buttoned jacket is an interesting choice because of how it's perceived. You typically find it on the most casual of jackets, like sports coats and so on, and on the flip side, it's also a mainstay in tuxedos and other formal dress. If appropriately styled, a single buttoned jacket is perfectly acceptable in the modern workplace and your colleagues won't look twice. If you lead a busy lifestyle and you find yourself being flung from the office to after work drinks and social gatherings, a single button jacket works great as it can very easily glide from one occasion to another because of the fact that sports jackets also only have one button. For the same reason, single button jackets work really well in an odd trouser configuration, in which you leave the suit pants at home and pair the jacket with some tidy looking jeans or chinos. Two button jackets are by far the most popular and constitute the essential suit look. This configuration is typically seen as a little bit more balanced and helps to extend the torso, meaning that you typically look a little bit longer and a little bit leaner. As a separate, a two-button jacket still works well, but in my opinion, if you want that casual versatility, I would probably seek out a single button jacket. When most people think of a suit, two buttons is where their mind goes. And if you need a suit mostly for utility, then this is my absolute go-to for you. Just be aware that on these kind of jackets, the bottom button is never done up. Essentially, you only ever do up the top one, and it's good practice to unbutton your jacket entirely when you sit down to help maintain the fibers and increase the life of your investment. And finally, we have double-breasted suits. Now, there's a few different styles in this category, but double-breasted just means that there are two columns of buttons instead of one. This style of buttoning isn't as common as single-breasted suits, but they've been a mainstay in menswear for the longest time. Double-breasted suits make a real sartorial statement and have an air of formality and presence to them. It helps to pin back your shoulders, making you look stronger and more assertive. It works really well with bigger gentlemen, as the sweeping front helps to trim you down. If you don't have too many suits, however, or if you're a little bit more conservative, this may be one to skip out on. Now, last but not least, pockets. The pockets on your suit says a lot about the formality of the overall garment. The front pockets are important on any jacket as they help to pull the eye away from the jacket waist. In conjunction with a stronger shoulder, helps to give you a confident and attractive silhouette. Much like buttoning and lapels, there seems to be three popular pocket styles, each having its own time and place. So to kick things off, jetted pockets are the most formal of pockets. These pockets consist of a few pieces of piping, often in a satin trim to create a clean looking line. In a lot of instances, these pockets are typically sewn shut or are fake to maintain the silhouette of your jacket and the inherently formal feel. These are the pockets of choice for black tie attire and help to complement the tuxedo look. That's not to say that you won't find it elsewhere, however, with jetted pockets having a small foothold in business wear and often seen in trendy fast fashion pieces. However, they definitely look and feel more comfortable in formal situations. Flat pockets are the middle way of pocket formality and by far are the most common. They're called as such because of the small flap that covers the internal pocket itself, which is often accompanied by a small piece of trim to help finish the look. Most of your business suits will have this style of pocket and they help to create balance to your outfit. In a pinch, you have the option to tuck in the flap to create a faux jetted pocket. This trick is something that we use with grooms that want a suit that is a little bit more formal for their wedding, but also want to use their suit later on for other occasions. And finally, patch pockets are, as the name suggests, patched on the outside of your jacket. As you can guess, this immediately creates a much more casual look to your outfit. This style of pocket wasn't considered work appropriate in the golden age of menswear. However, in today's more relaxed workplace, the style of pocket is more than appropriate in all but the most formal occasions. This one is also great for sports coats and those that want something to use as a separate. I would strongly recommend against using your pockets as pockets. Bulging pockets ruin the lines that a suit typically creates to make you look clean. So where do you store your stuff when you wear a suit? Well, if your suit has hidden internal pockets, this is usually the best place. Just as a side note, all Suitably suits come with an internal front chest pocket and a hip pocket. I personally leave my wallet in my hip pocket and carry my phone just because it's a bit large. And speaking about what I wear, it's time for the outfit check. In today's outfit, I wanted to wear something that was a little bit different to the average suit, just to flip the script and touch on a few of the style details that exist that we haven't looked at. Starting with a beautiful, suitably custom fabric with a hop sack weave. This one has been styled with a slim fit with the previously mentioned notched lapels with 2 buttons and patch pockets. I chose the fabric as it matched my complexion and helps to give a very grounded look that makes it really great for a normal day in the office. However, there are a few things that are a bit different with this suit that you may not actually pick up. First up, it's not actually a 2-button suit. Underneath the roll of the lapel, you'll see that there's actually a 3rd button that's been hidden and not actually intended to be used. This is what's often called a 3-roll 2-button configuration. This doesn't really change the overall look, but you'll notice that the button stance, that is to say how the buttons are positioned on the suit, sits a little bit higher than normal. This, in conjunction with the slightly wider lapel, gives a bit more of a 20s, 30s, golden age vibe, but brings it into the modern world. The buttons themselves are also in a complementing, albeit lighter color to the suit. Looking a little closer, you'll see that this one has pick stitching around the outside of the pocket and the lapel. This is just a fine running stitch that's often associated with a high-end feel. Finally, on the jacket, we've got the signature golden piping and a custom lining in a fun, albeit muted paisley that works well with the tones of the outer fabric. Following on with the classic but updated feel, my pants feature a straight cut without a break, making it a little comfier and showing a bit of sock, and also has a turn up or cuff, which is a small feature that was common back in the day and seems to be coming back, I've found. I've paired this with a pair of black double monk strap shoes and a patterned maroon tie that works together against the basic white poplin shirt with a standard button cuff. If you're looking to make something similar, or if you're looking for handmade custom suits, be sure to check us out at suitably.com.au. Well, now you know what to look for when you buy your next suit. A suit is entirely an investment, and like all investment, it's definitely worth having a little bit of knowledge underneath your belt before you drop your hard-earned cash. Did you learn something today? Was there anything you liked? Tell me in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe for new style guides and cool menswear content. Till then, remember, the best looking thing that you can do is looking after yourself. See you next time.